Ola Strandberg is waiting for this video. No pressure then. Yeah, so the man himself saw my video on the Strandberg sailing, and I spoke a little bit in that video about the problems I've got with Strandberg as a brand. I definitely don't feel awkward about that, not at all. Now bear in mind, I don't consider myself anything other than just a guitar player that loves the guitars that Strandberg makes. I'm not a marketing expert and I'm not some sort of big bollocks businessman, and I definitely don't know more than Ola does about building and running a guitar company. I'm just a dude who plays guitar and puts his silly opinions on the internet, but I do have some thoughts about the way the Strandberg brand makes me feel and what they could do to change that. And well, I'm kind of obligated to talk about it now because Ola knows it's coming. And by the way, Ola, if you're watching this, thank you for being cool. First off, I'm not here to shit on Strandberg in any way. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I love them and I want them to succeed, so that's why I'm talking about this. I love the guitars and I genuinely think they're the most innovative company making guitars right now. They're the best at what they do, and if you've played one, I think you'd find it hard to disagree. You can check out any of these free videos here if you want to know what I really think about the guitars themselves. Spoiler alert, I think they're sick. Also, the fact that Ola is out here and keeping an eye on the community and what people are saying is massive. I have a huge amount of respect for companies that are in touch with what's going on in the community so they know what their people want. My issue is that I find it hard to connect with the brand itself, and I don't think that I'm the only one. I'd like to feel like a part of something that's bigger than me, and I think that's human nature and something that brands need to be keenly aware of. Strandberg has built its image firmly within the virtuoso or prog guitarist space, and I think that comes with a couple of problems. Whilst it proves without a shadow of a doubt that these guitars are built for the best playing experience imaginable, I think it comes with a degree of unattainability. I mean, come on dude, the guys on the Strandberg roster are some of the best players around right now and some of my personal favourites. Pliny, Connor Kaminsky, Per Nilsson, Owain, Adam Rafowitz. Then there's Tosin and Javier from Animals as Leaders, and they used to use some of the first Strandberg 8-strings, and Aaron from Intervals I think used one for a little while too. These guys have had the opportunity to dedicate a huge part of their lives to music, and it shows. I'm just a normal dude with a regular 9 to 5, a child, and average musical ability. Like, am I really deserving of guitars like this? Probably not, but I still f***ing bought them though. That said, I can't imagine I'm the only person that went to buy their first Strandberg, hesitated and thought, maybe I should buy something a little bit more my level. Luckily I decided, f*** that, I want one, and found one of my favourite brands, but I bet there's a ton of potential customers that have ended up playing something else that they thought was a bit more suitable for them. The whole thing kind of makes you wonder who Strandberg's ideal customer is. The other problem with all that is that the niches that Strandberg appeals to are all pretty small. A scream van. It's January.
What are you doing?
Like, prog is really small, so we do need a brand like Strandberg who are looking after the guys that are making some of the best possible guitar music that's out right now. The trouble is that means that brand awareness is limited to a tiny subsection of guitar players. I mean, let's take Pliny, absolutely top tier prog guitar player versus someone shit. This just goes to show that the prog space is much smaller than most other types of guitar music, because for me, Pliny is like the best that there is and his monthly listeners are so much lower. That's absolutely diabolical in my opinion, but it is an indication that writing some of the best music around doesn't necessarily equate to widespread appeal. So if you take that small subsection of players that like the music, are aware of Strandberg, but then remove the guys who think maybe I'm not worthy of having one, or the dudes who don't want to pay for one or can't afford one, the amount of people that might pick one up is pretty slim. Which leads me onto the massive f***ing elephant in the room, the price, dude. I don't need to say much more on why that might be a problem, but I think we can sum up the stuff I've already said with this. Connection to the brand and affordability are the two areas that I think Strandberg can make massive gains, and here's how I think they can do it. So Ola actually beat me to it with the affordability point, but I've got something much more important to talk about first. What about making the brand more accessible for people like me who kinda don't feel like the brand is for players of their level? Well, I actually think there's a massive opportunity for Strandberg to become the brand for people like that, and it's all in showing just how good their artists are. Which sounds backwards, admittedly, because of what I've just said, but trust me on this because I'm sure it'd work. I cannot tell you just how many times I've listened to a Pliny song, an Arch Echo song, a Connor Kaminsky song, and thought, how the fuck is that being done? Just show us. This incredible bank of talent that Strandberg has got behind them could be shown off in lesson videos with their artists talking about technique, songwriting tips, all that sort of stuff. All the parts of playing guitar that these guys absolutely dominate at. Right now, Strandberg's YouTube channel is a showcase of some exceptional playing and product demos, but it doesn't really pull back the curtain on how the playing is being done and offer any value to players like me who want to know the in-depth secrets about it. But if they made it a regular thing to post like short technique lessons from the artist themselves, then it feels like a fucking open goal, dude. We'd get immense value from direct access to lessons from artists that we really admire and something to help us improve. Strandberg has the opportunity with the right video packaging to make videos that could spread throughout the entire guitar community and reach other new players who take their playing seriously. And the artists themselves can reach that same new audience and spread their music further. But most of all, it's giving back to the community and fostering a feeling of connection between players and the brand. We wouldn't be on the outside scratching our heads looking at these incredible players and wondering how the it's done. Instead, we could spend some time with them, learning with them, and becoming more connected to the artists and the brand at the same time. We'd actually be a part of it and not just a potential customer. Ola does a great job already with live streaming and being transparent about what the brand has to offer from a product perspective, but the value is mostly for them. They build hype for a new product or a new colour or whatever, and the business needs that to grow, and people want it. Me included, I was stoked for the Rescued series and watched everything leading up to that, and I still haven't had the money to get one. But if the value was weighted in the player's favour, then Strandberg will grow their audience and potential customer base, all while the player is being looked after as well. I just think there's a massive missed opportunity. And it doesn't have to be lessons, it could be short interviews, whether it's about guitar or like an Ask Me Anything with the artists themselves. All this stuff fosters community, and I personally would love to see it. Right, in terms of affordability, as I was writing this video, Strandberg did the exact thing that I was going to suggest. Did I manifest it? Who's to say?
I owe the banks a lot of money, but little do they know, I just learned about manifestation.
No, of course I f***ing didn't, but it's such a good move and I am stoked for it. Strandberg has just announced the Bowden Essential. It's a true to roots Bowden model with a few adjustments to make it a more attractive prospect to players who don't want to drop fat stacks on a guitar or have to sell the majority of the guitar collection like I did. It's still packing premium features, it's made in the same place as existing Strandberg models, it's got the same ergonomic body and endure neck minus the fan frets, and ultimately it looks like a legitimate Strandberg experience. Actually, I think the standard straight frets is a super good move because it removes a bit of a barrier to entry for the players who don't like the wonky ones. Obviously I can't say right now whether it's going to be good because they don't come out until March this year, but I do want to get one and put it against my other three Strandbergs to see if it holds up. Now, in terms of the actual cost, it's still just over £1,000, which isn't cheap by any means, but hear me out because I do think it's a completely reasonable price point. It's bang in line with similar spec guitars from other manufacturers and it still sits within like the pro segment of the market. It's just a cheaper way to get into the Strandberg realm. I'm definitely not one of those dudes who would just look at Strandberg's current pricing and start shouting about how much it is and get mad. Now, if we were talking about the cost of butter and cheese in the UK, then that's a different f***ing story altogether, dude.
Blocks of cheese put in a f***ing plastic container so people ain't robbing cheese.
But I do think the current line of Strandbergs is priced correctly. They're premium instruments that are built and designed to be with you forever and give you exactly what you need. Stripping that back to essentials and putting it in direct competition at the highest value for money part of the market is an absolute galaxy brain move. The Bowden Essential is going to be really successful, I can feel it already. You get the Strandberg quality, sound, appearance, playability, brand name and all at affordable price, and they're super moddable. What's not to like? But this won't be a conversation without knowing what you guys think. I would love to know whether you agree with what I think or whether you just think I'm being an idiot. Let me know, and remember, Ola might be watching.